Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Eric Ham, and we're live in the nation's capital of Washington, D.C. And over the next few minutes, we'll take you from the United States and around the world, covering all the top stories of the day. But before that, here's a look at the latest headlines. President Donald Trump announces Alice Marie Johnson, a woman he pardoned during his first term, as his quote-unquote pardon czar to advise his administration on clemency issues. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum warns her country will never tolerate a U.S. invasion after Washington designates several Mexican cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. Airlines modify flight paths between Australia and New Zealand after China holds live-fire naval drills in international waters off the coast of Sydney. Thousands of students protest in Indonesia against the government's budget cuts, fearing they will undermine social support programs as well as their futures. And the United Nations launches an international appeal for over $900 million to help people in Haiti as gangs continue to intensify attacks on security forces in the capital of Port-au-Prince. We start at the White House, where President Donald Trump has threatened the BRIC nations with 150% tariffs if they try to undermine the U.S. dollar. The commander-in-chief added that the group was trying to de-dollarize world trade in an attempt to collapse the much stronger U.S. economy. President Trump further claimed that after he threatened 100% tariffs, the BRIC nations broke up.
You know, the BRIC states, there are like 6 of them. And they were trying to destroy our dollar. They were going to say, you know, they wanted to create a new currency. They probably wanted to use the yuan. China, they wanted to use the yuan. And Biden said, well, this is a tough situation. There's not much we can do about that. We can't help that. I said, oh, we can help it. So when I came in, the first thing I said is any BRIC state that even mentions the destruction of the dollar will be charged a 150% tariff. And we don't want your goods. We don't want to partake. And the BRIC states just broke up. I don't know what the hell happened to them. We haven't heard from the BRIC states lately.
And now, without providing any evidence, President Trump boasted that he has stopped the BRICS from launching its own currency, which he claims was meant to replace the U.S. dollar.
We haven't heard from the BRIC states lately. But he said that there wasn't much we could do about it. There was a lot. It took once, literally. They said, sir, what about the BRIC states? They're going to take over the dollar, the sanctity of the dollar. They're going to create a new currency to rule the world. I said, no, they're not. They said, yes, they are, sir. They said it. I said, no, they're not. Tell them 150% tariff, plus we're not going to do business with them. And that includes China.
Now, the BRICS was launched by Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa as a counter to the Western G7 bloc. However, it's now grown in size and includes countries like Egypt, Ethiopia, Indonesia, Iran, and the UAE. And since the COVID-19 pandemic, the nations have been conducting bilateral trade amongst themselves in their own currencies instead of the U.S. dollar. China and Russia have even floated the idea of a BRICS currency several times, but have never received a consensus on the issue. This is because India, which is a founding member of the BRICS, has repeatedly said it has good relations with the United States and has no interest in replacing the dollar. Now, the latest threats by President Trump comes just less than a week after he first threatened 100% tariffs on all BRIC nations.
The BRICS nations, I think that's breaking up very rapidly. We said that if they're going to go and do anything to undermine the dollar, that includes China. I don't even know that they're a member of BRICS, but they had a few nations get together to try and play cute. And I said, we're going to put 100% tariff on every one of those nations. And at the mere thought of saying that, I think that's all broken up. That idea has no longer sailed. Now, that would be a terrible thing for our country. It would be bad for the world. They wanted to undermine the dollar. 6 nations got together. They wanted to undermine the dollar.
Now, only Brazil has in fact threatened to hit the United States with retaliatory tariffs. However, if BRIC nations do in fact retaliate President Trump's threats, it could lead to a severe trade war between the United States on one side and Russia, India, China, Brazil, and the UAE, which is about 40% of the global GDP, on the other side. And now moving to Capitol Hill, the Senate on Thursday confirmed Kash Patel as the new director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or the FBI. The 44-year-old, whose nomination sparked fierce opposition from Democrats, was approved by a 51-49 vote. Two Republicans, senators, including Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, voted not to confirm Patel. Meanwhile, Democrats warned that the new FBI chief would seek retribution against President Donald Trump's enemies.
Patel claims he respects law enforcement, but his words and actions demonstrate his disdain for the FBI. He has said on day one he plans to, quote, shut down the FBI headquarters, and he's falsely claimed that the FBI, quote, was planning the January 6th event for a year beforehand. There is no truth to that statement, Mr. President, and he is casting aspersions on the FBI that are undeserved.
However, Kash Patel has in fact denied any plans to pursue political vendettas, downplaying his previous remarks about law enforcement officials whom he called, quote unquote, criminal gangsters for investigating President Trump.
Has confirmed Kash Patel to be the next director of the FBI. The vote in the Republican-controlled Senate came despite Democratic concerns about Patel's relative lack of management experience compared to his predecessors, as well as concerns that he might look to operate as a Donald Trump loyalist and use the powers of the FBI to go after adversaries of the president. Republicans, for their part, see Patel as the right person at the right time for this job, and they say that his leadership is needed to reform the FBI.
And now in a post on social media platform X, Patel has now vowed to rebuild the Bureau and hunt down those who seek to harm Americans.
I am honored to be confirmed as the 9th director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The FBI has a storied legacy, from the G-Men to safeguarding our nation in the wake of 9/11. The American people deserve an FBI that is transparent, accountable, and committed to justice. The politicization of our justice system has eroded public trust, but that ends today. My mission as director is clear. Let good cops be cops and rebuild trust in the FBI. Working alongside the dedicated men and women of the Bureau and our partners, we will rebuild an FBI the American people can be proud of. And to those who seek to harm Americans, consider this your warning. We will hunt you down in every corner of this planet. Mission first. America always. Let's get to work.
Born in New York, Kash Patel is the son of Indian immigrants and has served in several high-level positions in President Trump's first administration, including as a member of the National Security Council. Now he replaced Christopher Wray, who was appointed as the FBI director during President Trump's first term. And even though Wray had 3 years left in his 10-year term, he resigned soon after Donald Trump won re-election due to his strained ties with the president. Kash Patel is inheriting an agency gripped by turmoil. For the past few weeks, since returning to the White House, President Trump has fired and demoted several FBI agents. In fact, some of these agents were involved in the cases where President Trump was prosecuted for seeking to overturn his 2020 election laws and mishandling classified documents. And now it remains to be seen if the new FBI director will in fact keep his promise of rebuilding the agency, or will he act as a puppet for President Trump's ambitions. And staying in Washington, Elon Musk met Argentina's President Javier Milei at the Conservative Political Action Conference here in the nation's capital on Thursday. The highlight of their meeting was Milei gifting Musk a chainsaw, symbolizing the world's richest man's role in the Trump administration. Now, the chainsaw that President Milei gifted has the name of Elon Musk engraved into it, as well as a phrase in Spanish that translates to, quote, long live freedom, damn it, end quote, in English. Now, as soon as Musk was presented with the power tool, he waved it before a cheering crowd. Milei famously wielded the chainsaw during his successful presidential campaign back in 2023. The power tool is a symbol of the deep cuts he made to Argentina's state spending, sparking a series of paralyzing protests across the nation. And now Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, is undertaking similar budget cuts for the Trump administration. Musk has proposed cuts to $2 trillion from the federal budget, which represents around 30% of total government spending. Now, during Thursday's conference, Musk also defended the sweeping downsizing efforts by Doge, which has sparked outrage across the country. He said the mass firings by the Trump administration have been done to keep programs like Medicare and Social Security operational.
Question. They're also talking about you guys are going to end Social Security, you're going to end Medicare, you're going to end these things. I don't imagine that conversation has been had with the president, and that's the plan.
No, in fact, the actions that we're taking with the support of the president and the support of the agencies is what will save Medicare, what will save Social Security.
Yeah.
And because if the country goes insolvent, if all the money is just spent on paying interest on debt, there's no money left for anything.
Yeah.
So that's the reason I'm doing this, is because I was looking at the big picture here, and it's like, man, our debt's getting out of control. The interest payments, the interest on the national debt now exceeds the entire Defense Department budget.
$1 trillion a year in
Yes.
interest, just to carry the money that we owe is $1 trillion a year.
Yes.
That is unbelievable.
And rising rapidly. So like, a country's no different from a person. Country overspends, country goes bankrupt. Same as a person who overspends goes bankrupt. So it's not like optional to solve these things. It's essential.
And Doge keeps an account of every dollar saved on its website, and it now claims to have saved at least $55 billion to date for the taxpayers. On October 7, 2023, over 300 Israelis were taken hostage by Hamas. Amongst them were members of the Bibas family, 32-year-old Shiri Bibas, her 4-year-old son Ariel, and 9-month-old baby Kafir. All were abducted from their home. Over a year later, the two infants have been returned, but in coffins. However, their mother remains missing. Hamas claims to have returned Shiri's body, but Israel says it's not her. So where is she? And is she still alive? And if not, why is Hamas refusing to return the mother's body? Here's the story with more.
On October 7, 2023, the world changed for Israel. The morning sun had barely risen when Hamas militants stormed into homes, tearing families apart. Chaos and horror spread like wildfire, and among the kidnapped were Shiri Bibas, her husband Yarden, and their two sons, Ariel, just 4 years old, and Kafir, a 9-month-old baby. A video later surfaced, Shiri clutching her children, her face frozen in terror, wrapped in a blanket as armed men dragged them away. Months passed, filled with desperate prayers and with posters of the Bibas family plastered on walls. They asked to bring Bibas back. And finally hope flickered, but the darkness never lifted. Yarden was released on February 1st after 484 days in captivity. However, his boys and his wife were not. Still, he clung on to hope. Then came February 20, the day of the handover. Hamas delivered 4 black coffins. Naturally, there were no joyful reunions, no relief, but just unbearable grief. The remains of 2 children and 2 elderly men. And then came another cruel blow. Hamas claimed one of the coffins held the remains of Shiri Bibas, but something was wrong. Israeli forensic experts examined the body and declared it wasn't her. It wasn't anyone they could identify, and it was a lie.
The cruelty of the Hamas monsters knows no limits. Not only did they kidnap the father, Yarden Bibas, the young mother, Shiri, and their 2 small babies, in an indescribable cynical manner, they did not return Shiri to her little children, the little angels, and they put the body of a Gazan woman in a coffin.
So where is she? The truth is even darker than imagined. Israeli intelligence confirmed Ariel and Kafir had not died in an airstrike, as Hamas had claimed. Rather, they were executed, killed in captivity by the very people who had stolen them.
anger, surprise, not understanding. First of all, the first thing we learned also was the babies were killed. There was a big question always was, were they killed or were they killed on purpose or was it accidental? The decision was made that they've been killed. They were killed by their captors. So that's number one, anger that they killed babies. Second, I don't begin to understand what Hamas was thinking. Did they think we wouldn't figure it out? So I don't know what they're up to, but it's a terrible thing to wake up to say the least.
And now to cover up, Hamas is claiming that the remains of Shiri Bibas were mixed with other human remains after Israeli airstrike. Since the return of the innocent captives, the streets of Israel have been filled with sorrow. The convoy carrying the bodies moved through Tel Aviv. Soldiers draped the coffins in Israeli flags. Crowds lined the roads waving their own flags, their tears mixing with the dust. Loudspeakers blared solemn prayers, the sound of a nation in mourning. Prime Minister Netanyahu pledged determination. He vowed to bring everyone home and reiterated his stance to eliminate Hamas forever.
We will act with determination to bring Shiri home along with all our hostages, both living and dead, and ensure Hamas pays the full price for this cruel and evil violation of the agreement. May the sacred memory of Oded Lifshitz, Ariel, and Shiri Bibas be forever enriched in the heart of the nation. May God avenge their blood, and so will we.
But for Yarden, no promise could heal what he was feeling. He knows his sons Ariel and Kafir are gone, but Shiri, she has still not come home. Is she alive? Is she suffering? Is she already gone? No one knows, and that's the most terrifying part of all.
And finally, we head to Europe. Germany stands at a political crossroads as it heads to the polls on Sunday. A once left-leaning youth driven by climate activism and social justice is now shifting rightward. Economic instability, migration concerns, and geopolitical tensions have reshaped Gen Z's priorities. Billionaire Elon Musk is fueling the transformation, amplifying far-right narratives that resonate with the anxious generation. And the AfD is gaining ground, particularly in eastern Germany, while mainstream parties struggle to keep up. With 30% of voters still undecided, the final outcome remains uncertain. Our final report takes you inside Germany's shifting political climate.
A storm is brewing in Germany's political landscape. As the nation prepares to vote, a seismic shift is unfolding among its youngest voters. Deciding who to vote for can be a difficult decision, but the German youth have the answers. They are well researched, well explained, and well informed. And in the polls scheduled on February 23rd, they vow to support the far right.
There is a growing influencer scene in Germany that is also politically oriented to the right. They don't necessarily communicate under the AfD logo, under the AfD banner, but they very strongly disseminate the AfD's content, narratives, and worldview. And that is very helpful and very useful for this party.
Why the German East would be the better question. Because not only Görlitz, that's not true. It's different regions with actually more voters for it. Since 2017, we have quite constant, AfD supporters here. It's around 30%. It didn't get more, didn't get less.
But the shift to the right has been sudden. Just 3 years ago, the Greens dominated Gen Z's vote. But today, they are losing ground. With 13.5% of voters in favour, the party now lingers in the fourth place. And the far-right AfD dominates in the second place with 20.7% in favour.
Why Germany East would be the better question, because it's not only Görlitz, it's not true. It's different regions with actually more voters for it. Since 2017, we have quite constant, AfD supporters here. It's around 30%, it didn't get more, didn't get less.
A deep divide runs through the country. In Western Germany, young conservatives rally behind the CDU-CSU, And in the East, the far-right AfD is making waves.
There were broken promises, many people lost their jobs, and even until now there are still regions in Eastern Germany that are less developed than places in Western Germany. So there's still difference in terms of economic development, but also definitely in terms of the democratic culture. And this is a, let's say, good environment for the AfD.
And they say if you want to connect to the younger generation, it has to be through the medium they understand. Hence, social media has played a key role in shaping opinions. Platforms like TikTok fuel political discourse, with both the far right and the far left making significant inroads.
I have now reached 300,000 followers on Instagram and another 131,000 on TikTok. I think it's a huge responsibility. My posts often go viral. Sometimes, when it goes viral, I reach 1 million or even 5 million people, and it's a huge responsibility. And sometimes that puts me under a lot of pressure because I just take it seriously.
Now, speaking of social media, how can we not mention Elon Musk? Last month, during a live stream discussion broadcasted on X with Alice Weidel, leader for AfD, Musk declared, "Only AfD can save Germany," end of story. Now, this statement wasn't just said. Instead, the world's wealthiest person provoked fury across Europe. Social media erupted, and soon there were volleys of online crossfire. While some hailed Weidel to make Germany great again, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz remained critical, calling Musk disgusting and blaming him to intervene in German politics.
I disagree completely with Elon Musk and what he's doing. So as a social democrat, I'm used to rich media entrepreneur that intervene in politics in Germany. They started in the 19th century, they did during the Weimar Republic and also in the Federal Republic of Germany's history. So that's not new. And if you look at the print press in Germany, you will see that there are many billionaires that also intervene in politics. That's not new. What is new is that he is intervening in favor of right-wing politicians all over Europe. And this is really disgusting, and it is not good for the democratic development in all the European Union.
But as they say, there's nothing called bad press. Some or the other way, the far right was being discussed. Even though there were criticisms, at least one thing was certain: that Elon Musk had shifted the focus and the youth began to resonate. The economic downturn is another major factor. Job insecurity, inflation, and a struggling housing sector weigh heavily on young minds. At least 17% of younger men aged below 35 believe right-wing parties offer a stronger economic vision, while at least 6% of women aged below 35 believe the AfD is the right choice. Then, over 12% of men over 35 are more likely to describe themselves as AfD supporter than 10% of women. In Germany, a generational shift is underway. Today's young voters prioritize immediate concerns over ideological loyalty. Even though the election remains unpredictable and around 30% of voters remain undecided, it's certain that the last-minute choices could tilt the results. So as the country prepares to vote, one question lingers: how far right will young Germany go?
That's First Post America for this Friday. I'm Eric Ham, signing off from our studios in Washington, D.C. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Merci beaucoup. Hi. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat Kelogan, Komeri Namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically, in a month, we have viewers up to 150 million. That's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years, we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Laurent, this is your chance to be famous. You're on Firstpost. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs. And that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.